back again. Stream number 3 today. I took a quick break, and since I already have this thing booted up, the server booted up to Fedora server installer. Well, it's net install. You can install server. You can install make desktop, which is what I'm going to be doing, and other desktops. Anyway, it's running in it, and also I remembered. It's running in it, and oh, you still can't see it till I switch the monitor. Okay, well, I was going to show it, but there it is. There's a server running, but I was going to show the screen. But what I want to do, I think, is well, let's just do that first. But I remembered the cool thing about the net install is you can. I think I'll go look right now before I forget. You can actually pause, use the tab key and stop it, and just type in a short little command added to the boot parameters, and it will start up a remote desktop server, and I can log into it from over here, and you can, and it's, you can look just like I'm on the machine, and I can show the install. I don't know if I want to do the whole install or not. It really does. Well, it can do as quick as 20 minutes, and it can be an hour, hour and a half, depending on what all you get into and setting up. Because with the net install, you can pick and choose what you want. So yeah, but anyway, it's already up and running. So let's see. I'll get on the one that I was kind of liking being on. Yeah, let's do the one with Cam 1. No. I'm really tired now, but I'm in the middle of it, so I don't want to quit just yet. So, yeah, Cam 1 is me. Okay, Cam 1 and Cam 2. Cam 2 will end up showing, it's showing the monitor right now, but it will show when I switch the monitor over, the KVM switch, and then the monitor over. And I didn't realize I was on my lapel. I got on my lapel mics to get up, and then when I came back, I forgot to switch. So I was on the lapel mics. I noticed at the end it was like, my voice and face were so out of sync, it was just crazy. But luckily, most of the time I wasn't showing myself. So, or was I? Anyway, I intended not to do that any more than just for a few minutes, a minute or 2 or 3 at a time, because the SM58 stays much more in sync. Streaming the lapel mics over the Wi-Fi really ends up. The longer you do it, the more delay you end up with and stuff, and sometimes it quits on you. Don't know it, I mean, luckily I was checking my stream, so and I just looked through my recording. Everything was okay, so that's good. Nothing worse than going on for 20 minutes or an hour is just horrible, or 2 hours, and not knowing that something's bad, really not working, especially the audio. I can't get on that thing. Come on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to go back to I'm going to have to try all the settings and see if one of them's quieter and it runs good enough. I didn't want to try the one that I thought would make it not perform well enough. But, it's just, after sitting here like this, I can't imagine really making it. It'd take an awful lot of soundproofing to keep it from driving me crazy. And I've got no matter what, I'm going to have to vent it out of this room if I'm going to vent it in here. Pause that. Okay, I was checking my stream again. I still haven't finished what I'm supposed to be doing. Now that should put it to where you can see me and the screen. So, I kept waiting for it to come up there, and I paused it, so it's not going to come up. One time, this laptop will be as loud as it can be, and the next time I can barely hear it. It's like it's auto-adjusting its own volume or something. But this is the first screen after you boot into Fedora installer. See, I think this is where it starts, if I remember right. Yeah. And since I got the new video card, I didn't have to select, the fallback video mode or anything like I was having to do before with this same Fedora 32 net install. Or was it only on the live system I had to do that? Now I don't know. I know I had to do it in the net install. I know I had to do it in the live system. Fedora 29 I hadn't even tried Fedora 32 live yet. I guess I may not, because it's just, I mean, I can install it. It's quicker than I could set up another SD. I'd have to get I got a new SD card. I could format it, put it in an adapter and all that stuff, and put it in a USB slot. But I just kept, well, first I thought maybe I could just boot one an ISO and ILO, and that was going to take a whole lot more work to try that, so I decided not to try that. But I'm just going to click, I can either click the next button, and I want to see if the, I think I'll just hang off on that, so that I'll do like I said. All I have to do is reboot it, get it to come up with the VLC server, and then, not VLC, VNC server. I could go next, and it would. I want to see if it sees those drives I configured. That's what I want to know. So back to my machine again. See if that worked. Hopefully it did. Well, I'm back on it, but it don't look like I have my mouse. It didn't. My KVM switch is only. It's about 18 to 20 years old. It still works, but it's not perfect. The button just doesn't work like, yeah, there we go. It stopped. It didn't click, in and out. It's a you push it, and each time you push it, it pops back out and it goes to the next port, KVM port. There's 4 ports on here. And so the button didn't pop all the way back out. I could feel it, so I knew I was probably not going to be in the right way that I wanted to be. Okay, so what I need to do is get in, there's my video I'm making. I want to make sure about that. Okay, get my documents, see about finding Fedora. I don't know exactly. Go into Fedora Linux info. No. Might be Fedora 29 because I'd used it to use those commands to install Fedora 29 a couple of times, I think. Fedora 29 server is what I was setting up. Let's see. I keep feeling like I just have to check it. But, well, when I pause it, it really makes me worry what's going on there. That's not what I'm doing. And but if I pause the deal, and then I can reload it and check it real quick. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So what I want. Group install stuff. Okay, it doesn't seem to be in there. I think it might be faster to search, but I don't know if it'll be. I'm not sure which one is this searcher here. This desktop search is really fast, so I'll do that. Close that. So, but if you search a whole bunch of stuff, well, of course, I mean, it's so fast that I can search that entire Seagate backup drive. I do that. Well, it'll take. Well, it depends on what kind of search I'm doing. I think I better not go to the. I don't know. It might only be in the backup drive, but I can search all my documents. That's where it's going to be of that, and then. VNC should do it. I might have it in my bookmarks. Well, I Sure, I do, but I haven't seen. Sometimes I have more trouble finding stuff in my bookmarks than I do in a file that I saved. I'm sure I saved it. Uh, so I'm just searching all my documents on my Seagate backup drive, not the whole thing. A lot of times I just search the whole thing because I don't really know where to look for it. And it might take 20 minutes or 45 minutes even, but if I'm doing other stuff, it doesn't matter as long as the machine's running good. Now that I'm streaming, I got to watch resource usage though. But yeah, see, nothing's using a lot except for OBS, and that's normal. That's the normal amount for OBS. I wish I make a lie right here. It could be that it won't be in the title, but it'll be, well, we're getting something. Yeah. I was going to say, is it done? It's always hard to tell when it's done. Oh, it's actually not hard if you look over there, that little spinning thing, but I never see it. Okay, so this is everything with VNC in the title. VNC terminal. I don't know what it defaults to sort by. It doesn't tell you in there really. Just click on folder. I think that works best for me. Okay. Terminal window, VNC. Installation guide, advanced installation. Installing using VNC. That's what we want. It's an HTML file. Remote desktop, how to set up X11 VNC server on Ubuntu. Okay, Debian and Ubuntu and Linux Mint. So, and there's a screenshot or something about VNC, or is that just probably from some sort of article. Okay, so I think I will go ahead and open up Firefox, because if I click on it in there, it's liable to open it up in the old version. I still have the old version on there, but I have this one running in portable standalone mode. It's not portable, it's really just standalone, but I call it standalone. Yeah, there we go. This is really a cool thing to be able to do, and I've found out about it years and years ago, and then forgot, and then found it again, and so here we go. Installing using VNC. Installing Tiger VNC. Okay, this is all installing. Vinegary is the one I used to use. It was, I don't remember. I think it's hard to set up or something. It used to, it was already there in Fedora Genome 2. And you just go into the settings and turn it, system settings, and turn it on. But ever since, I don't know, Fedora 20 or something, somewhere in there. I know at 24 for sure. I know they. I tried to. It wasn't there, and I tried to set it up, and I was having to go do all kinds of configuration stuff. So anyway, I've been using different ones. Tiger VNC is pretty good. I saw that a minute ago. I may not have found it though. This is so far just the general. Oh wait, maybe this is it. Yeah, here we go. Boot the installation system. Wait for the boot menu to appear in the menu. And append the inst.vnc option to the end of the command line. inst.vnc. I don't know why I'm copying this. I'm going to have to remember it. Let's see. Optionally, if you want to restrict VNC access to the installation system, yeah, I don't need the password or anything. So yeah, when you get to the this is Fedora 21 in this picture, but it works in 29, so it should work in 32. You get there and you, I guess I'll have to read it. You hit, I forget which key you hit, E for edit or something. It depends on where you're at, what you hit. Edit boot options. See the boot menu and append. See the boot menu and append. Start the installation using the edit option system will initialize the installation program and start the necessary services, and your system is ready. You will see the message on the screen. Right, okay. Manually connect. Tell you the IP and the port. Okay. Yeah, it's not going to be 5900. It's going to be 5901, I guess. Port. And editing boot options. See, it doesn't tell you used to tell you what to do in Grub if you wanted to change anything, but this is that's in Grub. This is the boot screen for the Fedora server. I never did see what you do to get into where you can edit. It's real simple. You always think, oh, I should be able to remember that. Use the arrow keys to select the menu. No, that's not what I want. I think I have the quick instructions typed into a file somewhere, but I didn't find it, did I? Oh, press tab on BIOS systems, E on UEFI systems. I think they changed that then because It used to tell you what to do, and I'm almost certain it was. I knew it was different than what I remembered, and I remembered E, so I thought, no, it's different now. Okay, so trying to find a good place to put that. I don't want to put it in one of those folders for a specific version of Fedora. Thought there might be something that was. Because that's when I can't find it, when I keep putting it in the folders with the. Dang it, I don't have a folder. Well, let's see. I guess we'll make one. That's actually not what that one does. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and put it in there, even though it's a local file saved on my system. I'm going to try. Let's see. I have to get that. Oh, I can jot that down. Okay, tab. I got to write this down. I know I'm not going to remember it. I had it in my head, and I could remember it for quite a while last year, but that was last year. Boot to VNC desktop server, remote. Not with to, but with. Hit tab at selection menu. Now, where did it go? I copied it. Let's see. inst.vnc. I think it's space. To end of line. And hit enter. I don't have anything with UEFI BIOS, so UEFI's not actually. They say it's not a BIOS, but most of us gonna call it that anyway, whether they like it or not. Okay. I was fixing to go and well, let's try that. Install using VNC. Advanced options. That didn't get me there either. Oh, that did. Now, can I find VNC? May not be able to find it now. I wanted to save a. Oh, I've got that one somewhere. General links. It says 28 on to 32. Oh, okay. Install using VNC. Didn't look like it was. I'm just going to leave it there because there, I found it. That's a good thing I put that. See, that's a habit I have, and it's a good thing I did that because copying stuff even though you don't really intend to paste it. Okay, inst.vnc. Yeah, I think I can do that okay. Now, I think I'll close this. I don't need my system getting overwhelmed. Probably I have it in a file, but I found it, so that's what matters. Okay, I'll close the searcher. Now, okay, we're on the desktop, and I'm going to get this thing playing up here again so that I can know that I get to the right place. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to get on, I'll just get on cams 2 so it'll be bigger and you'll be able to tell maybe what it is I'm doing and where. Come on now. Okay. All right, move the button on the monitor. It doesn't respond good anymore. You have to hit it 15 times to get it to respond. I used to, for years I did use it. My main machine that I used had a DVI-D output, and so that anytime I switched to another thing on the KVM, I had to switch it back to VGA. It has an automatic feature, but it doesn't work. Okay, so rather than going on, because I know it does take a good while, and not, you know, and you not being able to see it very well, I'm going to hit the quit down here. Sure, you want to quit, and I don't know if it'll reboot or what. If it doesn't on its own, I'll hit Control-Delete. Get it to reboot. And let's see. Just need to make sure and stop it at the right time. Okay, I got sound, I got video. It's black right now because it's rebooting. That's one reason why I like to have a, you know, side by side me and the deal, so if somebody hits that live stream, they don't go, oh, well, that thing's dead, and take off, you know, because this server takes a good while, you know. Actually, I don't know if it's going to reboot on its own. I'm going to hit Control-Delete a few times and make sure that it wants to reboot. Maybe doing it right now, but already, but I don't remember what happens when you hit quit in there like that. It doesn't have a GUI to go back to. I don't remember what it does now. So probably could have sped it up by going over there and hard shutting it down, but I thought, why get up if you don't have to, right? Hey, I'm tired. Okay. I think I'll pause that. I keep looking at it, and there's nothing there but a black screen. I'll pause it because I may have to hit the button. It seems that it just went back. It didn't go to a command prompt. It didn't reboot, doesn't seem like. I should have just hit Control-Delete while I was in the graphic user interface, and I bet that would have worked then. But the first time I turned it on, or one of the times when I was turning it on today, or yes, yeah, it's today. I didn't work on it yesterday. I thought it wasn't going to work, and then it finally came up, you know. But it didn't make any beeping or anything, but it doesn't always make a beep though. When it's a certain point when it's rebooting, it beeps, but not always. So I keep, yep, it was rebooting. Okay, I started to get up. Yeah, times like that, I'd like to have remote. There is a couple of remote apps for OBS Studio that you put on your phone, and you're supposed to be able to switch scenes and stuff. See, when I'm like this, I can't switch scenes without going back to my main machine with the KVM switch. I really like I love the KVM switch, but there are certain things that turn out to be 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Boy, that thing keeps itself cool. It does good. Oh, I have it on the extended readout. I never did take it off. I put it on that so that I could see all the different options. That makes it take longer, quite a bit. I think it's noticeably longer. But see, like it says, press Control S to enter configuration menu, F9 for setup. It's definitely helping, but it doesn't slow down on that one that the whole list there. Okay, so I hit the up arrow key. I don't want it booting to test this media. And let's make sure I've got the thing up there paused. So I'll just leave it right there and make sure that I am showing you what I think I'm showing you. And it'll just wait. Now, it was counting down. It would have automatically done that. So I just use the arrow keys, and either way, up or down. Sometimes if you're at the top, then you need to go down, but it was at the second from the top. And I'm kind of used to, this installer, so I kind of know what to do. So I kind of know what to do instinctively. All right, so I'm at the top there. See, you can kind of see the color's changing when I go through there. And I want to hit Tab. Now I can edit this boot. This is the boot command, or the actual boot command. So I hit space. You need to add a space, and then inst.vnc. inst.vnc. Install VNC, I think is what it stands for. Oh, not VND. Yeah. inst.vnc. So busy trying to look at the paper, I didn't look at what I typed. Then hit enter. And then once it'll show you when it gets the VNC server booted up. I guess it's, there's an installer already on there, so it just kind of adds it to the. Yeah, see, it was working on it. And it should have worked. And I've tried it on the regular graphic installer for like Fedora with my desktop, and it's not available. It doesn't work. Be nice if it did, because then you could use the regular graphic installer to make videos. Like that's what's cool about it, is you can show what the whole install process. You can be doing it remotely from another machine, the one I'm streaming from. So there we go. It's getting there. But the IP address is already up there. Let's see. Please manually connect your VNC client to 192.168.0.114's port 1. So see that note, it's not going to be 5001, it's just 1. And I think I can go ahead and do that now. It's still, it did a few more things. Could not obtain desktop path or name. I'm not sure what those are about, but I think it'll be okay. Okay, so 192.168.114 port 1. All right, now we're get over here on the desktop. We'll just open up my favorite, which one do I want? Not PuTTY, remote desktop viewer, and KRFB. I want remote desktop viewer. KRFB is another one, but that's probably the one. That's the only easy way to get remote desktop working in Fedora is the KRFB, the GUI way to do it. But it definitely doesn't work as fast. I don't know if it's, you know, I haven't used Vinegary since Fedora 14. I went from Fedora 14 to 24, from 24 to 28, and so Vinegary's still in Fedora 14, and it's so fast I forget I'm on a remote desktop. 114. See if I have a 114 in here. Nope. Well, that's close. 117. 14 port 1. Yeah, there won't be a password. Anything else? View only, scaling. No. There she blows. Let's see. There's one that'll make it, but not that one. Fit it to the deal, and then I'm going to go ahead and do it in full screen mode because I got nothing else to show you but that right now. So, all right, cool beans, and I'm still live and everything. Okay, so this is your this is the Fedora 32 net install. And it's got more options than just, it's called the server install when you download it. It says Fedora server. But it'll do a whole lot more than just a server. It does several different types of servers. So me, English, you know, English United States. There are a lot of other places where you can see a whole, all those are English but in different countries. And it's slow to respond. So once you click, I clicked on the continue. I didn't mention that. And see, it took a little while. Okay, so installation source, closest mirror, software selection, Fedora Server Edition. Now you can go in there and change, that's where you go in there and change everything. The keyboard, language, time and date. I need to change that. I'm just going to go ahead and start changing stuff. Well, there's no point doing anything else right now until I look in here and the Ethernet's already connected. I need to look in here and see if it sees the drives. Oh yes, yes it does. Cool. I'm so excited, I just want to go ahead and do it. Maybe I will. Select the devices you would like to install. They will be left untouched until you click on the main menu, begin installation button. Alright, so this is the one I wanted to use, 683.51 gigabytes. So that's what I got. And then there's a 136. There should be, I guess there's another, yeah, the other 136 that I made. Logical volume. They're all logical volumes. Okay, so in Fedora speak, that would be, they're all in the LVM. These are all in LVMs. But we'll call them logical volumes. Okay, I'm going to click on that. Now, don't need to make additional space. I'm going to go with automatic, I think. Well, let's see. There's automatic, custom, and advanced custom Blivet GUI, which is a GUI partition editor. It's if you've ever used gparted, it does the same thing, but it looks quite a bit different. It looks just like the old Genome disk application, and it works pretty much like it. Let's see. I don't want to encrypt the data. I don't need to make any more space. Specialized network disk. You can use iSCSIs and all kinds of stuff in there if you wanted to do that, and you know how. What I wanted to see how it's going to divide it up, because a lot of times it doesn't give me a big enough root partition, I mean. And because I like to install lots and lots of apps, and that will end up filling up the root partition too. And it's hard to resize them, really hard. You don't want to start over and rebuild your system. It really gets up being a pain. The last couple of times I have done a custom, let's just do custom. Well, no, let's look at the it used to be you could check a box saying let me see it. Well, used to you always saw it before you continued, and then you had to check a box saying I want to see the layout before I continue, and I'm not seeing a place to do that. And I'm on the wrong one, 136. How did that happen? How do you deselect one? When I paged over to the right, it kept jumping. Now it's okay. Okay, there we go. Full disk summary. Is that going to give me? Set as boot device. Yeah, and you got to really think and, you know, figuring out which boot devices and all that stuff. It gets tricky. You really got to know what you're doing. You got to know how Fedora needs to be set up. And I'm tired right now. Let's see. Refresh. If I do custom, what will it do? Custom automatic. Oh, I see what it's. Oh, it's going to add those to the system, SDA, SDB, STC. It's going to add them in there. That's cool. That's good. That's fine. It won't hurt anything. Let's see. Does it do that in automatic? I think it does. And I have but in order to, sometimes I have actually used the, you know, like I have used Blivet, or what I used to do is do my partitioning first. Especially if you're going to use a dual boot system, especially like with Windows and Linux. Windows doesn't like to, it needs to be close to the front of the partition of the disk. So put Windows on there first, but only use half of the, or whatever, however much you want to use. I usually kind of just divide a drive in half. And then set it up and leave free space after Windows. And it's kind of, the easiest way to really do that is to do half of the drive NTFS, the other half say ext4 Linux partition, then Windows can't read that, so it will not try to install onto it. And then once you get Windows installed, go back, and it's actually easier to have empty space than to already have a partition there, so delete that ext4, have empty space, and then the automatic will do it, or you can customize it, like I said, and make, I don't think it's even going to tell me is the thing I'm not liking here. How big my but they do put the root partition inside of LVM, and those are easy to resize without losing data, as they say. I haven't really done it because I've always got data that I'm scared to lose, you know. I had a system that I just limped along with for a long time because of, I'd add a couple of apps and the root partition would fill up. And then I would clean it up and take a couple of apps off, you know, and then it'd be okay for a while. And then I was just running on like 2 gigabytes of space left on the root partition. And I would forget sometimes and install apps. And of course, they're really small, but, you know, the files they work with or the cache or whatever, you know, it'll end up adding up. But custom, if you hit custom, then... Oh, disk summary and bootloader. What is? Let's see if that tells me. Oh, I already looked at that. Right. And it didn't seem to tell me anything. Okay, well, I'm just going to use the automatic because I'm just too tired to even really think about how I would do it otherwise. If I don't like it, I can start over. You know, it's not the end of the world if I had to do it again. I just don't like doing that. I like to do it the way I want it from the beginning. But the button is up there at the top. You'd think it'd be down here somewhere at the bottom, you know, the middle, the bottom, either bottom right. But it's up here. I've kind of got that in my head now. But boy, I fought with that when they started doing it that way. So automatic, and it keeps going over to the right. See, it's doing it again. It won't stay where I put it. Oh, if you drag the bar, it jumps back. But if you click in the empty space, it stays. But there's a check mark there on the big partition, the 683 gigabyte. That's where I want the operating system. Okay, so it's not going to tell you what's happening. I'm going to leave it and not worry about it. Network and host name. So we've got 4 of them and one's connected. That's all fine and good. I like to, yeah, no, this don't, if I install the web server version with this same installer, I'll do it in a virtual machine, and I'll give it bishopco.com to run my website. But I don't want the host machine being named that. So what will I name it? Yeah, everything looks good on the. Didn't remember the IP address being 114. I think it's getting. I don't know. Probably just don't remember. I was I think maybe it's getting a different IP than the server than it was getting before. But no, it couldn't because it's the same Ethernet adapter. But I do want to give it, localhost local domain. I want to make it HP. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just give it its model number. DL380 G7. HP DL380 G7. I think a dash can go in there. I don't know if a dash can. Let's don't put a dash in there. It'd be harder to remember. HP DL380 G7 local domain, because this operating system is not going to be a web server. So I'll do it like that. Hit apply. I always like to do it during the installation because it's it's not really hard to change it, but sometimes other things have already been aligned to that name, and it really gets to be a pain to get everything lined back up. Everything working again. I'm going to hit that reload up there. Okay, done. And you need to do a root password and create your regular user. But you can do that while it's downloading stuff and everything. So I'm going to go to the installation store. Let's see. Oh yeah, English. Oh, I haven't set my local time. Do that before I forget. I do not want 24-hour, that's for sure. Thought I'd be able to do it on the map, but didn't seem to be wanting to work. Let's see. When you type, it used to go to it. There it is, Chicago. Oddly enough, Chicago is the same as the one you want to pick to get. How come it won't let me check to get Texas, North Texas? It's just on the edge of the Central Time. What's really weird is look how that map, look at that highlighting goes when you go up there. Why isn't it letting me change the New York time? Chicago. What is that? Add and mark for usage NTP servers. No. No. Americas, that's what they're calling it. Oh, United States. There we go. Now why did it go crazy? Jump back to... The map's not working anymore. There, Central Time. What in the world? Central Time? Let's jump over there to the other side of the ocean now. Oh, there we go. Turn off New York time. America's Central Time. United States Central Time. There we go. No New York time. Now I can do AM and PM. It's not 5:05 p.m., is it? It's 3:15, I think. 4:07 on that one. I can't really read. 8:06/2020. Maybe it will fix it. Oh, daylight savings. It's probably not doing daylight savings. Well, I'm going to leave it like that. Don't want New York time. I don't want anything out of there, do I? Okay. That was weird how that thing worked. Well, it should be all right. I don't know. On the computers, I don't have to set it to, daylight savings on or off or all that, I don't think. I think you used to be able to tell it whether you wanted it to do that or not. My back. I forgot to check my sound and everything. Oh, it says complete these before continuing. Used to, you could root account is disabled. No. Okay, yeah, okay. It's not disabled if you lock root account. Okay, this is always a challenge for me, so. I'm going to have to look at something here. Give me ideas. Okay. Yes, this may help. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to write it down. Okay. HP DL380 G7. Oh. Okay, I think I did something that'll be okay. Can always change it later, but don't like to have to do that, but okay. Okay, lock, allow root SSH login. Sometimes you need that to save a system. If it was a server, I would do it just so that I can transfer files over to the server, my website and everything. They always don't want you to do that these days. Lock root account. I don't know sure what that would really do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because when I do set up a web server, it'll be in a virtual machine, not this, this physical machine. Okay, and then user creation. I always do it that way. I spell my name right on the full name, and I don't put the last name in because I want my username to it automatically gives your username just Dawn. I like to do it that way. Easy. And don't use spaces. Yeah, you can't use spaces anyway. Make this an administrator. I don't do that because if you do that, you get into this crap between sudo and all this junk, sudo password. If you don't make it an administrator, it's counterintuitive, but I've done it before and I found it the hard way. If you don't make your regular user administrator, well, it's safer for one thing. But the other thing is it will just, anytime you see a pop for a password, it's always going to be asking for the root password. Unless it's some weird off-the-wall program, something that was written for Debian, I guess, or something. Or not even Debian. Debian doesn't do that either. Ubuntu. If you ever do install, you can put some add-ons in there that you can install debs and stuff. If you do that and you get a Ubuntu app, you will get into that kind of crap. And I hate it. It's just crazy. You never know. You're used to, you get in a rhythm and you're used to just, you don't have to read every single word in every dialogue. You know what it's going to ask for. And so, and I learned that way in Fedora. And Debian, I ran Debian for 2 years every day, all day. And but anytime I got into Ubuntu or any of these other ones that do that sudo junk, it's just a royal pain. And it don't even, I'll stop. Shut up. Okay, so oops. Okay, advanced. What's advanced? Oh, okay. I don't know of any groups I need. There may be one I wish I added it to, but you can go back and do that. Okay, done. The only thing that slows you down is getting hung up and not, if you don't know exactly what you ought to be doing somewhere. Or if you're tired and mixed up. Let's see, central time, installation source, closest mirror. Yeah, that did that automatic. So you can click on it, but that's already done. So that was pretty quick. It had me wondering if it worked, right? Oh, there. Okay, now destination, I did that. Host name, I already did that. Should be right there, yeah. HP DL380 G7. HP DL380 G7. That is, yeah, that's the machine. Now, software selection. Yeah, it used to tell you can go on and start the installation and do these user settings and stuff later, but it told you don't do that now. But if you just click install, you're going to get the default Fedora Server Edition. And it does not give you a web server, oddly enough. It's a server, but, and you wouldn't be getting any, see, there's hardly anything selected over here either. So you wouldn't be getting any of these add-ons. You'd have a basic server. Anyway, Fedora Custom Operating System, Minimal Install Server. Workstation, that would give you the Genome 3, Cloud Server, KDE Plasma, XFCE, LXDE, LXQT, Cinnamon Desktop, Mate Desktop, Sugar Desktop. Let me go ahead and click Mate, that's what I'm going to be doing. Sugar Desktop, Deepin Desktop, Development and Creative Workshop, Web Server, that's the one you click if you want a Apache Web Server. And then you'll have a bunch of things you will probably want to add and stuff. infrastructure server, basic desktop, X Windows system, with the choice of the window manager. So, I'm going to go down through here and try to pick what I need, but not too much junk. That's pretty good. 3D printing software. I don't have a 3D printer, so I won't go to goofy and put that in there. Made applications, administration tools. Yeah, you want that so you know, administrate user accounts and hardware. Audio production, I like that a lot. Authoring and publishing. Yep. It's not going to give me everything I want, but I'll use group installs. If I end up leaving, this is just the way I want it, and I leave it on there, then I will, yeah, we're not done yet. I will use my group install scripts too, but I got to edit them out and get rid of. I put so much stuff in it the last time that I've seen some of my previous videos where I was. Oh, I made some videos the other day that my Lenovo i5 stopped on boot, and I used just the camera. And I didn't realize, I knew it was looking kind of blurry, but I didn't realize it was so bad. So anyway, I made hours and hours of videos. I didn't do a stream or anything. Couldn't. The machine wasn't right. And they were just useless. So anyway, I was going to say, the Lenovo hangs up for about a minute to 2 minutes booting every time because of some stuff I installed that I didn't really, with the group installer, that I didn't know what it really was, but I thought it might be cool. And then it needed configuring, and I didn't want to mess with it, and so since Fedora 28 came out, I've been using it like that because it was right, you know, within the first 3 months I did that. Books and guides, those are good. Yeah, for you, it's good to have those. Sometimes you get stuck, you can't get online or something, and you might need some help. Read. It says users and developers. See development tools. I don't know how to do that. Cloud infrastructure. I don't need that. Cloud management, container management. I'm going to get that because I'm probably going to need to get into learning that. Development tools and libraries. Genie tag, I don't use that. Design suite, yes. Additional designers, they'll have a lot of good graphics tools. Development tools. I don't really use CVS or anything. It might be something else in there I might want, but I can still, if I miss something, I can do the domain membership for joining. Now, I've never ended up doing anything like that. Eclipse. Development, no, that would be like soft. I think that's Eclipse. I don't know if that's a GUI, you know, developing or just software. I can't remember. Editors. Yeah, Emacs. Actually, I don't know if you're going to get anything but like anything really cool. Well, I'm already getting LibreOffice. LibreOffice. I don't know if it was LibreOffice or OpenIT. Educational software, I never use it, but I think it's cool. Electronic Lab, I love that stuff. Scientific, it's cool. Let's leave it out until we decide if we might want it. IPA server, I don't really even know what an IPA server is. So I have installed this stuff before. And my web server thinking, oh, I'll figure out what it is, and I might use it, you know. Games, yeah, I never have really liked any of the games you get with that. I only like a couple of games. Car driving game and a flight simulator game they have, but you got to go find it. Headless management. I might need that. It might be useful since this really is a server. Medical applications. This actually can be useful to like. You can seriously get into some medicine management and symptoms management with that software. Milky Mist. It sounds cool, but I don't know what it does. Network servers. I don't want any of that in there. Okay, not on this one. This is a desktop system. And then my server, anything that's a real server, I'll put in the server edition. And what I'm planning on doing is in a virtual machine, maybe. If it works out to where I can run this thing 24/7, it's nothing run me out of this room. It's 80.8 in here, but I'm not dying because I turned down the air conditioner before I started to 73, so that makes it 74 to 5 in here with not a bunch of 75, 76 without not a bunch of extra stuff running. And I'm not dying, so evidently nobody turned it, changed it. It is 99 outside. I looked a while ago. So neuron modeling simulator. Neural networks. I've always wanted. Okay, I can't. Office and productivity. I can't resist. PDF suites and viewers. You think you're getting so much stuff. Python. Learn Python. I did take up. I don't know how to use Python. I took a class from the Google Online University from Python several years ago, and I didn't. I tried to take how to build a self-driving car, which was super high-level robotics, and I didn't realize it. And I took the introduction to Python, and I could do the Python. I couldn't do the other, and you had to go fast, really, really fast. I think you can go at your own pace now, but I ended up being so overwhelmed I quit after a month or two. Robotics, and I have those on this system now, and some of them look really cool. RPM development tools can be very okay. If you want to install from an RPM, that's the type of install file extension RPM for Fedora. You'll be needing some of that stuff. You may never develop anything. I don't develop RPMs, but you can't. If you have that package, you can install from an RPM. If you don't, you're going to have to find the exact right things to do it, and it's a pain. Security Lab can be very useful, although most of it's, command line that I don't want to use. Sound and video. This will get you a good start. The only problem is sometimes there'll be bugs in some of these particular ones, and they'll hang it up. It'll go all the way to the end of the install, and then it will fail. And you'll have to parse the logs to figure out, or search Google to figure out what is it that broke. System tools. Client for connecting to SMB share. Yeah. Monitoring network traffic. SMB, that's how Linux connects to Windows networking. Text-based internet. That can actually be useful sometimes. Links. I think Links might be one of the browsers you get. And then window managers. Simple window managers that aren't part of the desktop environment. I don't think you need that. I've installed that. I've installed dang near everything in here before. I would hope they've updated this to where if there's a problem with something, it will tell you before you wait, 20, 30, 40 minutes for it to try to install, and then it doesn't work, but we'll see. And I always miss things, so I'm going to go back through a little backwards. And let's start at the top. Reading backwards is hard, and I'm tired. 3D printing. You know what? I want to see what it's like. They have all that stuff online that's free tools, and they're usually not that great. And then some of them they want to sell you. And most of the time I find something just as good or even better in open source software that'll run on Linux. I don't have a printer, but see, you can design something and then send it off to one of those print houses, they'll print it for you. That I might do. Core development tools such as Automake, GCC. I might actually need that. I do know how to very, very little bit about, using IDEs. I actually learned to use some of the big hotshot IDEs before I ever got an Arduino and tried that Arduino IDE, and it's funny. It works, but not near as good as some of the others. I still have them, and I really didn't make projects out of them like I always wanted to, but I have some MSP 430 boards from Texas Instruments and Anaran wireless modules and stuff that I got for free for writing reviews on them years ago from a website called element14.com. And I bought a Raspberry Pi. Well, I got to write a review on a little wireless keyboard and stuff that I got for free. So I applied for it, and I said, okay, if I get picked for that, then I'll buy the Raspberry Pi. And so I've got like the Raspberry Pi B, the first set, not the one that's B in the last couple of years or whatever. Cloud, okay, cloud. And I don't know that I could use tools such as Git and CVS. Sometimes though, when you want to just download stuff from Git, you might actually be glad you have that, because you'll already have the things you need to do that. And I clicked, and what did it do? Didn't do that. There we go. That's weird how that does that. Drive you crazy. Eclipse. I think Eclipse does not be an IDE. I got more IDEs on my Fedora 14 system than I do in this one, and the ones that I know how to use. But you can just learn stuff by, open up a Python application in an IDE and you can start learning how it's written, or anything. Like, I started doing it back in Windows 98 with the C programs. I didn't really know what C and C++ was. I'd heard of it, but I used, Windows programs. I used to pour through them. Some of them were a lot of them were written in that code that you can't read, but some of them were written in. See, Python's written in readable text, human readable, and there were some Windows programs like that too. But I used to try to figure out. There would always be some notes in readable text in a lot of those Windows programs, and I would try to figure out things about them, or figure out if they were malware, figure out where it came from, or figure out how to change it once in a while to do something just a little different. But I never really I don't remember really getting anywhere with that. I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't taken any kind of course or anything back then. The only one I kind of get when I look at it is Python. Well, Python and Arduino. It makes sense to me. But I messed with mine when I got it a couple of years ago, and then I haven't used it anymore. I always think I'm going to make projects out of stuff, and then I have too many things I'd like to do, and never get to do it because of other things. Let's see, educational electronics, like everybody else. Unit conversion, that makes me think, oh, maybe I want that. I do that always. And then you get a bunch of programs that I got no idea how to use. Let's don't do that one right now. Keep thinking maybe those do have some of the games I might. I don't really. I used to play the Flight Simulator, and I used to play Need for Speed. My friend was a big gamer, and when I'd go over to his house back in the early 90s and the mid 90s, he always making me play games with him. And so when I got into the computers, I found out you could get the free, the base version of Need for Speed for free. I got it and played it online with people all around the world. It's pretty fun. There was a couple of different car games I used to play back then. That was in Windows 98, 90, and XP. Yeah, things like that. You install that and you end up needing to be set up, and then I don't think that's not. No, I know what it was. I found it. It was iSCSI stuff. I had installed some whole packages that trying to start up, set up iSCSI drives, and it was failing. It needed to be configured, or maybe needed some more dependencies or something. Usually, all the dependencies come with this is a group install. That's what these are. You're just clicking on a box to do a group install. But I had done those after I set up the system initially like this. Then I went back and I wanted more, and so because I was missing a lot of things I wanted. Like, I don't think I'm going to end up with VLC or a lot of things I like. Crusader file manager, may not get that. I'm not sure. I don't. That's anything that made me think I'd get it. So I rather than it take me 6 months to get everything I want if I just try to remember them or even read back through lists and notes and stuff. So I learned how to do group installs in the terminal and then I figured out. Well, I thought, well, hey, I'd been making just install scripts for years. Thought, hey, I can turn this into an install script. So I did. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it. Only one that I'm questionable about is engineering and scientific. Well, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, now hopefully none of these will break. Now before I start that, I want to make sure I'm still online, online and being heard. Throat's really getting dry. You know what's funny? I keep thinking, is that fan on? Well, yeah, you got 6 fans running or 8, however many's in that server. And there's a vent that's blowing my way. And every time I see the temperature of the server is 75 degrees. So instead of making me super hot with it blowing at me, it's actually giving me kind of a cool breeze. It's 80 in here on the thermometer, but I can feel it's not hot air coming out of the server. So that server has got the best cooling properties of any computer I've ever seen. That is awesome. So that could something to think about, where I'm going to put it and all that sort of thing. I'm not going to let it blow at me. The sound would drive me nuts, but that's really unsuspected. I think the reason that it's actually doing that, though, is because, like I said, I have the air conditioner on 73, so I think it may be running right now. So the server's probably just kind of catching some of that cool air and blowing it at me, because the vent is right up, not right over the server, but over my rack, really. Okay, so I'm going to hit done. Uh-oh. Problems and requests, broken groups or modules, Eclipse. Some packages or modules are broken and the installation will be aborted. Huh, well now that's good. At least it's telling you. Exit installer. Why can't I just go back and take those out of there? What's wrong with you people? Broken groups or modules, Eclipse. I don't remember which one it was in, but I do remember the name. You got one choice, exit installer. That means that everything that I just did is lost. Now this is what I was saying. But what it used to do is work and work and work. And you look like it was just almost done. You know, it looked like you might have a minute to 5 minutes left, and then it would quit. I think it would just quit and not even give you any kind of. It can give you something like this, but that's good that it's telling you before you start. Why did they keep leaving these broken things in there, though? I don't understand that. I mean, this has been a problem with it. I love this thing, but it's been a problem. I've used it on and off for at least for Fedora 14, probably before that, and then I kind of forgot it existed, probably because I had trouble with it and quit using it. But if it's going to do what I think it's going to do, I'm mad now because it should just, in the first place, it shouldn't be in there. But okay, I understand. There's all, this would be like a sanity check, and that's cool because there's always going to be mistakes, especially in, new versions of software. And Fedora's putting out a new version every year now, so I guess they have always. But anyway, there's always going to be bug time, working out the bugs. And but why can't they just sends you back to, back to the main screen and go back into the software and take out the Eclipse. Add Eclipse. That's how you put a group in the command line to have it run. You'd say DNF install space ampersand Eclipse if you want to install that group. And what I guess it is, there's groups within groups, because I didn't install just a Eclipse group on purpose, Installation will be aborted. Yep. See, it just completely killed the installer. So I was thinking I should have tried. Oh, I forgot. I could have got a screenshot of that. I was thinking I can't screenshot it because I'm in this installer. Normally you don't have a GUI desktop at your disposal. I could have just got out of full screen mode and got a screenshot of that. Add Eclipse. I need to write that down. I'm not going to start again today. I am worn smooth out. Well, there you go. That's how you learn your lessons the hard way. And exactly what I was has happened. Well, it's not, same thing happened, but just that they told me what was going on. Yeah, I'll write it on here. So you can't connect to it again. I don't know why I was looking at that. It is still running. I wonder if I can get into ILO. I might do that. What was it I was wanting to know from ILO? I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I have to get in the Windows XP virtual machine to get into ILO. So I'll open that up. And I guess I'll just do that. Okay, so boy, that makes me mad. It looked like it was going so well. But yeah, I just can't see a reason in the world why they can't, when there's an error like that. Good that they told you about it, but why can't they just, have it take you back to the main screen and let you do what you want, or tell you, well, you can go back in there and take that one out. I swear years ago, when I first used that, you could go back. It was a pain because it was hard to figure out which ones were hanging you up, but it would hang you up and you could go back and fix it, go back and fix it, go back and fix it till you got it right. Fedora 32, mate desktop. Eclipse. Install. Failed. On, let's see, group. Right space. Whoops. ECLIPS. Had to exit. My pen suddenly don't want to write again. What are you doing? It's rebooting. So it's probably rebooting into Fedora, and I won't be able to get in there with let's see. Won't be able to get in there with oh, I need to go see Yeah, I need to go back over there. I need to see that screen and know when it's... Well, first, let's try what I was thinking. I don't think I can get into... let's see, I want to get it. Okay, desktop. I'll try it. Did I click on the Mozilla yet? It takes a long time to open this, especially when you've just got through booting it up. I think I did. What I was really wondering is can you get into ILO when it's not running, like you should be able to. I think I'm going to guess that it's not, that feature's turned off somewhere in all those settings. Could be that you got to get in there to the RBSU BIOS. Okay, maybe I never started Firefox because now I can see it's thinking. Now I'll probably have it running twice. But it's going to be sitting there in the installer now, so I don't know that. I still have to go there and take that out. That USB stick out. But I'm debating about whether I should. I think I'll go ahead. Oh yeah, I need to see. Okay, if I'm going to do that, I need to get over on. That's going to take a while, so. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and make sure that my stream is still working. Okay, so I got to get back over here on the machine on my KVM. And now that would have been fun if it would have worked. Of course, I was just beginning the install, and I'm so tired I'm just about to fall asleep now. So I really, when I would have been stuck with, I would have been stuck with it running. So it's probably a blessing in disguise, because I wouldn't have wanted to turn it off, and I would have left the thing running and went to bed, because I'm gonna go to bed very shortly here. Oh, as soon as I can. Oh, DVI, yeah. As soon as I can get everything off the bed and put away enough that I can go to bed. Of course, I'll have to get off of here first, but so spoiler alert, I'm getting ready to quit. Why are you not showing anything? I just have a blank screen. It's on DVI. It may have, since I didn't have it, I had it over on my machine and it didn't see. Well, it would just, the monitor is going to be seen because that's on the HDMI cable. It would just be the USB that wouldn't be connected, but it's not waking up. So, I guess I'll just go over there and hard shut it down. Joke's on me. Oh, wow. I was tired enough to quit before I started this, but, I got excited when I saw that. When I remembered about, the remote desktop and all that. And it got it all up and going. But that's really something you should start when you're pretty fresh, because it's let's see. Okay, we'll go back to the desktop. Let's see. Yeah, there's Firefox, but it's not done loading yet. I think what I'll do is make sure that I can get in and eat Lilo again. Shut it down with ILO if I do get in there, and then try to see if I lose connection or if I can reconnect or whatever. Unless it takes forever, then I'll give up because I am not going to spend forever doing it. Let's see if I've got more than one. Yeah, don't. It takes forever. I mean, it's not done loading, so. Hadn't brought it. It should be gone. It would go to Google. It should. If you try to, I'm gonna try it anyway. I'm gonna try to go to it. Maybe it will. Usually, when you, especially when machines running slow, and you try to tell it to go somewhere else right away, then it just locks the darn browser up. Even my Lenovo does that. How much memory is it using? 1 gig. Oh, I gave it a gig of memory. That's right. So it would run good. Doesn't seem to have made any difference, does it? I probably should not bring that on back. XP can run fine on 512 megabyte, or I could give it like 768 or whatever. It's in between there. It's trying to connect at least. Yeah, it's talking to it. Okay. Security certificate. Yes, I want to go ahead and go there. So I guess it's going to ask you that every time. That's what it did last time. I tried in my previous video, or first video today, I tried one of the videos. This is the third one now. And all those security things, yes, I want to go there. I thought I was just sure I could log into ILO with it not running. I thought I'd already done it. And it couldn't see it, you know, and one time it would say bad MAC address. Another time it would say can't contact it. Finally dawned on me that maybe it needed to be running. Sure enough. That's what it needed. But it should, and the reason I thought it was going to do this because I had just spent I think 2 hours looking through my screenshots of my research in the manuals, and reading my papers with my passwords and stuff. Okay, we're there. Just in time. Okay, so right here on the front page, you can virtual buttons at the bottom here. The IP is 0.192. Okay. Wait a minute. Local user DON IP 0.192. Oh, that's the IP of this machine. I knew it's familiar. That's a virtual 0.192. So that is the machine I'm connected, you know, to it from. But its IP is it's up here somewhere. Well, it's up here in the address 0.122. I think it might be in here. Yeah, there it is right there. IP address. ILO host name. So that's the ILO host name there. Okay, so okay, I'm going to press and hold and see if I lose connection to it. That'll shut it down. See, you know what? I guess there is no startup button in here. Oh, wait. Okay, now let's see if I can start it back up. Yep. Now, I did that before. So I don't understand why I couldn't connect to it. Maybe when you leave it unplugged for a long time. Man, that's loud. Wonder why it's doing that this time. Oh, that's the fans on the video card. I'm shutting it down. Something, you know, that dynamic fan control is not really working, is it? Let me get the USB stick out of there. Wow, that was loud. And it didn't seem like it was going to quit. It sounded like it was going to, those fans were going to fly apart. Yeah, I think I'm going to open it up and give it a look. Okay. I just checking the sound. Okay. So oh, I forgot. I was going to switch to the good old wireless mics so that forgot. I was going to switch to the good old wireless mics so that when I get up, yeah, okay, they're working. So when I get up, I changed my mind. I was going to do the double view, but I'm going to just go to the 4K camera so that you can see. I'm going to go there and open the lid. And just look, I mean, that was, I heard rattling as those things were spinning. You know, it's possible. I hadn't really thought about that, but Morton was showing, well, a video card. He was cleaning one with an air compressor, and I've always done that. And it was a used one, and it had run, and you know, long enough to get really hot, and the fins got so brittle. My hand won't go up in there. I don't want to take that all the way out. That thing is barely even warm. I mean, the cooling is working so good, and the cover over the processors, it's cool to the touch. I don't know if I could see. I guess it could peek in there with the endoscope. That's the only way I could do it good. So can I get it over there? I think I can. Without really a lot of trouble. Let's find out. Oh, well, hang on. Famous last words. It's hanging on. Oh, it's completely hooked on the antenna. The one that's about broke. The nut, you know, it's gotten the nut that keeps it tight is loose, and it's letting it twist on the wires and stuff. And so that's the one it was hung on, of course. All right, so, but what I'm going to do is, let's see, in this, yeah, this one right here, in the scope, and that, and we'll see if we can turn that light on. What can we see there? All I see is the wire getting in my way. It's not very big, but it was definitely not letting me see what I wanted to see. Let's see. May have to go to the just endoscope view so that I can really make out what I'm looking at. There's a fan. Mostly what I think I was wanting to see was there any fan parts laying around in there? Well, there's two fans in there, and I don't see any parts. What's this gonna do for me? Anything? There's a blade. Now right there, I might be able to get something small in there and kind of turn that fan. That's kind of what I was wanting to do. Once I realized what I really should do. Okay, let's see. If I want to figure anything out, I mean. Here we go now. Cable. I need a wireless endoscope. Won't go where I want it to go. There. Yeah, those are flimsy blades. Didn't really look like anything was missing. I wasn't looking at the pre-video, I was looking at the actual. Blade, I could see it. Now let's see this one. Now you can see that one pretty good. I don't know if I want. Yeah, I'm not going to stick the screwdriver in there because everything's still plugged in. I might short something out on that board that's hot. I'm thinking that we're probably okay. First I wasn't I wasn't thinking about it damaging the fan or anything, and then I thought, dang. Well, I was tired of listening to it, and then I thought, wait, I should be concerned about that fan. So, delayed reaction, but finally I got an idea about maybe I shouldn't let it keep doing that. Okay, I had to put it back where it belonged because, get off of it, because, I was just wondering what you could see if I did that. That black, well, this is the top of the, or the bottom of the top or the bottom of the video card. The other side, of course, is the fans. The cooling is working tremendously well. First time I ran this, it was hot as fire. You couldn't hardly touch it. I don't know how come it was doing that the first time. And then ever since then, it hasn't done that. Unless the fans are just running faster now than they did that first time. But yeah, and it doesn't make any difference to have the VGA unplugged, other than it might have been why if that VGA was plugged in, it might not have booted straight to that USB. I do have it set to go, video card first and internal onboard second. But and so maybe Wouldn't matter if it's plugged in or not, it's still going to try it, you know. But some of them, desktop, some of them, you can't have them both plugged in. It will either always go to the VGA, no matter how you got it set, or it will just not have any video. It wonks it out somehow. So, the light's bright on that thing, boy. The light was up all the way on that endoscope. I looked up there and nearly blind me. Okay. Now, I don't. SM58. Go to the desktop. Now I'm going to do the momentary press, and it should start it back up. I'm not getting my long press button back up. Doesn't want to shut it down like it did before. See if I can go to the power management. Dynamic power savings mode. It's kind of worried me. Let's see if we can change it. Low power, static high, OS control. Let's do low power. That didn't make it do anything though. Now I can do the press and hold. Guess I needed to refresh that page. Boy, that's loud. Sound like a model airplane. Okay, I'm going to try starting it again. Huh. Keep thinking it'll quit doing that if there, you know, it very often you know, well, it's usually the regular fans that get so loud. But I don't understand why it just suddenly started doing that. I don't think it's going to low power mode. But it shouldn't. Well, it's not. I may have to unplug it and plug it back in. Then I bet you anything I'll lose connection to the ILO if I do that. I think that's what it is. Is when it's been unplugged, it doesn't just. I thought, you know, you plug it back in and it would boot up, but I guess you have to boot the server first, then shut it down, and then with, you know, it's what it's doing now. I've started and stopped it several times with the ILO, so the ILO is working. But I guess when you unplug it completely and leave it unplugged, maybe like if you do it for a few, you know, over a certain amount of time, maybe 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, a day, I don't know. It'd probably be like 10 minutes to an hour, I would guess, that it doesn't come back up automatically, you know, when you just plug it in. But let's see, what was that? Power saver, no, power settings. Server is currently off. On delay. I put it on HP static low power. Static, you know, it's not going to change. Dynamic, it's changing automatically. But I'm thinking that's, since it was like that somehow. I don't know why it would. I mean, the fan was the video card fan wasn't running like that ever. I don't ever heard it do that before, so I don't really get that. I did try it on OS control mode. Let's see. there's anything else in here. Power cap. Oh. I wonder if it's turning on a power cap would do that. Disable power capping or manual control. Warning trigger, other settings. I don't know about that. I'm going to apply that. You must reboot the server. This time it tells you must reboot the server. Well, let's see if I can still do that. Short press. That should boot it up. It's really, really loud still. Maybe this is not enough of a reboot. Just doing it, you know, it's kind of like going to sleep, really, you know. Try it again. So I shut it down. Wow. That's deafening. Let's see. Power. Well, that's the power meter. I was wondering what it... Oh, it tells the history and all that, yeah. 250 watts. But today, it looks like it was averaging around 190 watts, 194, I guess. It says average power 194. Okay. 20 minutes. But that is 233. So that's got that. Does it say the time? Yeah. 8:04:36. That this morning? Well, I want the power. Server power. What was that? I forgot. Oh yeah, it's currently off. Oh, and you can do a momentary press from there. I really don't get it. Put it back on dynamic because I know static performance has got to be the one that made it go insane. Yeah. I didn't jump up and say you got to reboot it this time. Start it back up. Just as loud as before. Seem to hear more out of the system fans now than I did. I'm too tired to listen to all that. Don't I'm getting to where I don't care anymore. I care. I'm puzzled by this, but I mean, maybe the GPU. I had shut it down. Maybe the GPU really heated up. Maybe it really is hot. Maybe the GPU heated up when it was shut down. If you've been I've been running it for several hours now, quite a few. Shut it down. No more fan, and so the heat, it hasn't all dissipated from the GPU itself. There, the cooling. There, I mean, there's cooling fins on it. I don't remember. I didn't inspect them, but I think it's mostly relying on those giant fans, two big old red fans that I showed. Maybe that's it. But I'm ready to quit anyway, so I'm just gonna leave it how I had it when I started today, and then I think if I'm gonna, there is more settings to do with power, more advanced settings and stuff, I think, than what's here in the RBSU. I think it was the BIOS. So I might go back in there next time and see if I see something. I spent a lot of time in there, but it's easy to get turned around too. So this is really a nice layout, easy to compare everything and see what you're doing. I like that. So I'm going to quit and go to bed. I have had it. I guess I've done plenty of work for today. I don't even remember when I started. But definitely, well, what did I get done? A lot of experience, a lot of learning. Oh, the camera's barely working, isn't it? And the computer's had all they can stand today. It is 5:12 p.m. now. So sometimes if you get on a different camera, this one working? It's behind too. So, oh, now it's okay. Looks like it's behind, but I was going to go over there to that camera, but well, that's fine. Just go to there. Oh, that's not a camera. That's not a camera, and that's not the one I want. This is the one I want because I know it's probably going to. Well, you can't see my face, so you won't see if I'm in and out of sync. It's kind of funny. That's kind of nice looking. That cable, I didn't go to get a purple cable. I was trying to get a really long cable, like 30. I think it's 30 feet long. Years ago, I bought it. I was going to put it in Mom's room to run from her computer around her room to a TV that she has in there that can do HDMI. And her video card actually does HDMI, and her monitor will do HDMI too, but her video card will do HDMI and VGA. I don't think it even does DVI. And she decided she didn't really want to use the computer to watch stuff on TV, and so I didn't do it. And besides, the TV's actually smaller than her monitor, just the way they're arranged in the room, it's hard to see the monitor from the bed, And I told her, well, we could move the computer over here, move that dresser over there. And they go, no, I don't want to do that. So I just had this cable and haven't used it till now. It's the most use I've ever got out of it. I've taken it in the living room once or twice, and that other laptop that she's using right now has an HDMI out, and I plugged it into the TV after we got a TV that could do that. And it'd be perfect. I mean, it's plenty long. If I did put this thing in the closet behind it there, I've already got that cable, but I would want to. I mean, I could use a wireless keyboard, but I can't type on that thing. I don't like that mouse. It's too little for my hand. It jumps when you move it, and I'm just so used to my HP. This is an HP keyboard. I have two of these that I bought for like $12, but they were, like old stock stuff, brand new old stock, and I got them for $12 when they were, originally, I don't know what they were, 75 or more, $100 something. back in about, I don't know, maybe '02 or something like that. And I want to see if that camera's working again. Yeah, so yeah, it's back now. It just got out of whack for a minute. It was tired. Need a little rest. But yeah, I'm rambling for sure. Okay, so I got to figure. I got a feeling it won't do that when after it cools down. You know, like, and I turn it. If it don't do it, I'm gonna kind of think that I'm right. The video processors, the whole video card, just got really hot when I shut it down, and since I turned it right back on, the fans are running like crazy trying to cool it off. Because the last several times I've run it, the things that were getting loud was the main fans. I mean, today, that seemed to be louder than I remembered them the last time I ran it on the same settings, same power settings. But I could be wrong. I could have just gotten used to it better that last time. But that's pretty weird. It's really kind of funky to figure that out, all these old desktops they're full of fans or need more fans or whatever, I mean, I've had them run hot and have to put another fan in them, stuff like that. Like one of my first one I ever built, the blue FIC. I have four. I don't now, but I used to have 4 or even 5 hard drives in it. That really made it heat up. And so I finally figured out there's a floppy drive in it and another slot to put in another something like that of that size, another floppy if you wanted. And so I just took the cover off and left it off because it was just above the hard drive tray. That made it run just fine. That was all I needed to do. Fans that I had, in it were enough then because it just needed circulation. Needed to be able to move more air through it. And I remember I worked on a computer for a friend of my old neighbor, and I actually got paid for that. And it was running WinXP, and it was overheating. He was keeping it in a bookshelf. Jeff had described to me where he was keeping it. So I said, okay, we need bigger fans and more ventilation. And so ordered some fans and stuff, and something I think was broke or something that needed. Ordered some parts, and I put in some. This was when I put open source, like Open Office and stuff like that on it, open source software on it for him, and blocking my microphone, and took 1 or 2 of the vents, and I have a little table that you put a handsaw under, a circular saw. Had it since 1975 or 6, and it came from Sears, and it's actually made out of steel, so it's lasted all these years. And finally got to the point where I had a dedicated handsaw I could just leave in it all the time. So, and of course, there are a lot thinner blades than a big table saw, and so it was just right to cut slots in it. So we cut a bunch of slots in, and 1 or 2 of those, like CD-ROM covers, because there was at least 1, maybe 2 more empty slots, And so, and once he got it back over there, I never did go over there. Jeff just brought it to me and then took it back. But he said it ran great, didn't get hot anymore. And somebody else, like some computer person had put, or company or something had put one of those tiny little, like 2-inch by 2-inch fans. And I guess it probably did okay until it got old, and it just wasn't even hardly. I kept it, and I used it. I put it in my Raspberry Pi. I think that's what I put in my Raspberry Pi, and it ran about a year, and then it got to where it was just barely turning. But I wasn't running it on 12 volts. I was running it on. I had a power supply in there. It wasn't the one for the Raspberry Pi running it. The case that I use port. My Raspberry Pi used to be a HD TV tuner, and we had our electrical lines got hit by electricity one year. It damaged one or two of them, blew one completely out, wouldn't work anymore, and so I didn't throw it away. I kept it. I thought maybe I'll learn how to fix it, but finally I never had been able to learn how to fix it, so I used the box, the case. And the power supply that it was in it had two voltages on it. One was, I think maybe it was a little damaged because it was kind of odd. I think one was 8 volts and the other one was 3.5 or something, which would make sense to electronics like that. Anyway, I ran the fan on the 6 or 8 volts when it was really a 12. It was really a 12-volt fan, and they'll run. They're just a lot slower. But it was okay because it wasn't so loud. It kind of made some noise, when it was going on 12 volts. It spent pretty fast, but it ran for a year or two and finally quit. And then I got smart and I had some old computers with bad motherboards, and I took the heat sinks off of them and I cut one into the right size and put it on there, and it's working. Now it's got passive cooling, works perfect. Then it just didn't get any hotter than it did with the fan. As a matter of fact, when the fan got to where it didn't work good, it was getting cooler, because the Raspberry Pi software, the Raspbane or whichever thing you put on there, there's actually I was running telling stories again. Actually, I was running wasn't the Raspbane. What I set it up for was XBMC, and now it's Kodi. After I ran into XBMC for like 2 years, and then it changed to Kodi, and it got a little more bloated, and it got to where that and the video files got more bloated, I guess we'll say. They're higher quality, but it couldn't play them anymore. Putting the software and the video files, getting higher quality, it couldn't play them anymore. But anyway, in the Kodi, and the XBMC and Kodi has a place to see temperature of the CPU and stuff like that in there, so it's really easy to find, and other specs. I don't know that it showed voltages. Well, it might have, but it would have just showed the power supply going to it. That power supply was it was a AC to DC, everything all in one little deal about so big, and it had its own slot in that box. That's why it ran the original HD TV tuner. And so I just put it to use for that. I was wanting to use it to power the Raspberry Pi, but I could buy the Adafruit power supply for $5 or $8, and I had learned around in there. I guess is when I learned about buck converters and all that. But that back then they weren't cheap. Back then I think they were $10, $15, $20. So I didn't go that. I thought about doing that at first, but that I also realized that power supply. Well, I knew it. It had been exposed to lightning. And I thought the way it had the odd voltage, I thought it may actually be damaged. It's probably noisy, and so I decided I didn't want to use it on there anyway. Since this was an AV computer I set up with the Raspberry Pi, and so I'm looking at it right now, set up on top of that. I got it. I usually have it somewhere where I can get to it easy, but I haven't used it really. Just play with it once in a while. But I kept thinking, well, you know what? It's only 750 megahertz and 512 megabyte of RAM, but that will run a Debian or maybe some other web server. I just want Apache. I don't want to mess with some oddball server. There's one for that Raspberry Pi that I tried out, and it was weird. I didn't want to get. I didn't figure it had enough security, and I didn't want to figure out how to learn a whole new web server system, because I've been running Apache since Windows. I started learning it in Windows 98, and I started using it for my web server about 05, 06. Somewhere in there, 05, 06, 07. And I've ran different. First one I ran, the first one I ran was, under my feet still the machine is. It's a 450 megahertz Dell desktop, what was really a desktop machine. You set it on the desktop. It wasn't a tower, it was wide, and short. and you used to put your monitor up on top of it. That's how you always did it. And but anyway, I didn't do that. I put it in the floor to be my web server, and I ran it for years. But it had a memory module that would, I don't know if it's the memory or the motherboard. Sometimes when the power, you turn it off or the power would go out and it would come back on. It would boot, you could set it to boot back up automatically, like I was talking about earlier. But it wouldn't always see all the RAM, and so it was getting more and more worse about doing that, so I got tired of messing with it. And it was, well, Chaos Linux, the guy quit developing it, and it was an RPM-based server distro. And he said he developed it for the NSA, and that it was super secure. And well, I never had any trouble. Nobody ever broke into it. But so then I went to using Fedora on a more powerful desktop. Like, well, I think all of them I used were Accelerons, but they were like one of them was IBM with 2.5 gigahertz, and then anyway, I ran that one for years. Then a couple different ones. But they kept having the fans, you know. I mean, they're old machines, and the fans kept. They're single-core machines, you know. They're older, and made great web servers. Plenty of power for that. For mine, you know, I don't have any high demand or anything. Just my websites, my music, MP3 files, and that's it. And I recorded a couple albums over the years. I would sing and write lyrics, and had a couple of different friends that played the music and stuff and recorded. And then I would mix them down here and back here, and then put them on CDs and stuff, you know. But or kind of remix them, not necessarily mix them down, but well, I don't know. You can say it however you want. Finish them. I did the finishing. But anyway, yeah, and I used to put my MP3s out on different, you know, websites and stuff. But all the website, when they got to where the whole copyright wars and all that, nobody wanted to host MP3s anymore. They didn't want to have trouble. And of course, they're my original music and everything. But so I just said, well, I was already interested in servers. So at that time, I had a fast enough internet connection, so I just set up my own server. I already kind of knew how to do it. I just had never done it. I learned how to do it. And so, so I hated to go back to such a, you know, the ARM processor is nothing compared to even a Celeron, much less an Intel Pentium, you know. And then, of course, everything since then, Pentium 4, and then everything since then. But yeah, that ARM processor at 750 megahertz with 512 megabyte of RAM is still nothing compared to a Pentium 2 or 3, especially a Pentium 3 with the same RAM, the amount of RAM and stuff. So the only thing good about that, they hyped all that stuff up like the best stuff in the world, but it was just steps. So a lot of steps backwards when I got that thing. I was like, okay, it works, but just barely. And you know, it wasn't real expensive. Well, I mean, you end up spending some money getting everything you need for it. It was like $35 or $39 for the Raspberry Pi, and then I think I ended up spending $15 for the charger. I mean, charger, power supply. You know, well, of course, there's no battery. I didn't ever put a battery in it, so it wasn't being a charger. It was being a power supply. And several times the operating system got broke with the power. With the power would go out. The SD card, it would break the you know, the SD card's partitions. It would lose it, but I was able to recover it every time with Gparted or something like that. But it's a pain, you know, having that happen out of the blue. And you know, the desktop machines with regular IDE hard drive, that just hardly ever happened. Maybe if a hard drive would die or something, you know. But the power could go on and off, and you know, over and over. Like I might do it on accident. Well, like sometimes you have trouble with your power cables. You know, there's always the female end. You know, you stuck plug it into the back of the computer, and it wiggle it a little bit and connects and disconnects. I remember doing that on accident 5 plus times in a row on that IBM. Never heard anything, but it made me think I was going to mess it up. But so you want to definitely find, if you got one of those, you don't want it on your web server for sure. One that's bad like that. But they just make them such loose tolerances. The female connectors are just too wide, too open. Not tight enough to connect to the male ones inside of the power supply and stay connected. And you just wiggle a little bit, it would lose connection. And I saw that happen to Morton. He had a cable that was doing that to him on one of the servers he was making videos about. But running I think it could handle it if I don't think it could run Debian 8. Well, Raspbian 8. I don't know. Well, it is Raspbian. That's the Debian remixed for Raspberry Pis. Of course, I couldn't use a new one at all. That's one thing. I kept thinking, well, I should put my web server on there right now. I kept thinking it for a long time, so I don't have to run that laptop. I really don't want to wear it out. It's a really nice little old laptop. It's like a keepsake, and it's useful for a lot of things you can do with it, other than letting it run 24/7 with the lid open, collecting dust and getting hot. I guarantee you, I'm gonna have to replace the CPU paste any time on that thing. It's been running way too long now. But haven't done it. I haven't changed over to that. I really, once I got back to working on the server, I wanted to finish it. And, that's been pretty slow going. So, but that laptop actually does make a difference in it raises the temperature in this room running all the time, all by itself. I wouldn't have thought it would, but it does. Because when I've had it off, a few times, I was like, hey, that makes a noticeable difference. So just that running and the Lenovo i5 running, it'll raise the temperature 1 to 2 degrees, depending on how hot it is outside and all that sort of stuff, how much the air conditioner's running and all that. Now, this raised it from, last time I looked, it was 77, and it stayed at 80. It's 80.6 now that I turned it off. It was 80.8 last time I've noticed, I looked at it. For hours, I mean, ever since sunup, it's been, right. Well, I wasn't right after sunup. It might have been 9 or something when I started noticing it getting on up there. Actually, this has been the best, temperature-wise, it's been the best day I've had working on that server. I was getting so hot, and I would turn on. I looked up, I thought, well, maybe I better turn on the fan in the floor behind me, open the window to get some of the hot air out of here. But I looked up at the temperature outside, and it was 99. Now it's 100. I'm just not looking. Might not be quite that hot here. That's up in 4. Let's see what it is. 80.6 in here. It's 96.8. That's a lot. That's a lot better. I was thinking, man, I'm doing pretty good for 100 degrees. It's not 100 degrees here. So right outside my window, it's 96, and it's in the shade now. When the sun's on it, you can't use that little outdoor. Got a bulb that goes out the window. So back to this thermometer sensor bulb. It's a bulb. That's what they call those kind of things, I believe. So anyway, I really would like to run my web server on a real web server, But the number one reason why I bought the server here is to have a really powerful desktop. And when I first got it, I was really pleased. I thought, okay, it's really not that loud except for when it really ramps up. And it wasn't making too much heat, real bad. But I do believe the heat's increased. I know it has. I haven't been writing anything down or anything, but I know since I put that 8 gigabyte video card in there, the heat's increased. But the noise is, the best I've got it was the last time I was working on it and today since I put that card in there. I swear it's quite enough louder that I really noticed it today, but maybe it was just the way it was affecting me today as compared to the last time. But the last time, at first I thought, man, that's still too loud. Why can't I get it back down quiet as, you know, where I had it before? I mean, well, I know why, because it's got a big old GPU making heat in it, you know. The sensors are seeing heat, so they'd ramp up the fans, you know. And I thought about, now, I never had any trouble with the fans in the GPU until just now today. I had thought, I wonder if I should make that, you know, as much fans as in the server, I wonder if I should take those fans off of there, off of the GPU, and maybe, well, but since, you know, if it had a really big heat sink on it, that'd be, you could probably do that. But to buy big old heat sinks like that, I don't have anything that big. It'd be expensive. I don't want to spend a bunch more money. But the fans, if they're just going to keep on acting crazy like that, I might try that. They're actually just snap in and out. There's a paper that came with it showing you how to get the fans out. Take the fans out and take that plastic shroud off of it till it get more airflow. And that's another thing. I got to looking at it. There's really not a lot of opening in there now that I've got it in there. You may be able to see it. I'll try to point it out. The dark one there is open, and that one is open. I think, let's see. They're sharp, and I didn't want to go sticking my fingers in there and cut them up. They are open, but some of the frame, there's a certain area where some of the, you know, the mounting frame for the video card kind of blocks what could be otherwise open. But I kind of thought, well, these, I could take one or two of these covers out, but then it might. Morton's always he's always talking about airflow. Morton, the server guy. And he's always saying you always you want to leave those blockers in the way the factory put them in, unless you put a card in there. I mean, you know, he uses common sense. Like when he's where I learned how to put video cards at servers, and so he will do what he thinks will make it vent good. But he always wants, like, and it makes sense, you know, direct the air. Try to make the air coming from the fans go past that video card. If you open it up over here, then it's just going to go around it and come out over here. So there's the answer to my question. Looking at, I don't know why looking at it that way, I can just, like, I can see it more clearly than I was looking at it upside down when I was thinking about it earlier today. But yeah, that's probably, I just kept, it didn't seem like a whole lot of air was blowing out of there. I put my hand over it earlier today, and I thought maybe it needs more ventilation. And I thought I thought, well, I could take one or two of those out, but then I thought, well, then it'll just go around the video card and out, like Morton says, you know. And actually the power supply fans, when it's running, you know, they have been working just as normally, and I've been checking the temperature in ILO, and you know, well, it stayed every time I looked at it. It was 75 degrees, or right at 75 degrees inside of that case. Cooler than this room by 5 degrees. So the only thing, well, and I've been feeling like today. Every time I opened today, I opened it twice, I think. Well, I guess it was only the second time I opened it. I actually had been running it and felt that video card top of it was just cool. It was just warm. That's all. And the first day that I ran it, it got so hot. I don't know how come it did like that, but it got so hot that I could not keep my hand on it, and I was kind of worried. I thought, oh, I'm going to have a problem here. But it's kind of a puzzle. I expected it to do the same thing every time, and you know, and I figured I could probably, unless, one thing I was worried about was like maybe the sensors in the server. I thought maybe the sensors, the temperature was maybe coming from the through the wiring on the device. You know, I thought maybe there was a sense wire on the video card sending it back, and I thought maybe that won't work right. But I was looking in the manual, I guess, or on the website, there's I don't remember how many sensors are all around that server. They're they're embedded into that motherboard all over the place. So it's getting the real-time temperature from the case all over it. It's not, that card or anything else could be in there or not in there. It's not taking its readings from the card. But the way that fan ramped up, it's not taking all. Okay, I thought it wasn't taking maybe any readings from the fan because it hadn't acted up until today, but today it goes nuts, going really fast. So maybe either there's a sensor really close to that. Well, there's something that told that, a sensor. Maybe there is a sensor in the fan that does. Maybe there is a data wire. Most of these newer fans have a data wire. Besides, the power, they have a data wire to tell the motherboard their speed, their temperature, a sense wire. They call it a sense wire. They do have a sense wire. And so maybe that sense wire is working and that thing did get hot. And that's why it was screaming. Those fans on it were screaming, not the fans in the box. So yeah, maybe it's not, it's the only, we'll just hope that by next time I turn it on, after it's cooled down tomorrow or next day, whatever, it's cooled down and it'll just be like it, at least like it was. Yeah, the fans have sense wires. All the modern fans have sense wires. So, of course, I was shopping, when I'm shopping for fans, I learned a bunch about fans. So this is on a video card, but it would be silly to not put sense wires on the video card. It needs to be needs to be cool, but you also don't want it ramping up like that when it's not even hot, But it would definitely, I can see how it could be very hot. It was running along, the temperature of the box, like I said, was 75 degrees every time I looked, but then I shut it down, didn't wait too long, turned it back on, So that would be just enough time for it to heat up more before it cools down. That's how motors and cars do. Anything that's, heat sink, it's pulling that heat away from the GPUs and through itself. And then with the fans running, it can dissipate. As long as everything's okay, it's not too hot in the box, it can dissipate it fast enough. But when you shut the machine down and the fans stop running, then it's only passive cooling, So, yeah, maybe that's all it is. Just got overheated from, and me turn it off, turn it right back on, and let me know that it had warmed up. So I guess then that the sense wire is sending data back to the machine, and now maybe if it was a regular desktop, it would have handled a little better than that. They wouldn't have been spinning that fast, but. Well, these servers here, these particular models of the HP servers are made with the preface of being able to install and use video cards. So they use them they've got number crunching video cards that don't have any video outputs. They're really just GPUs. And then then you can put whatever kind will work in there that. Well, you can buy HP video cards with video output. But they're kind of mostly for rendering video. They're made to be video editors. So, of course, they're really expensive even used. So the HP branded ones, because I did find a couple. I found one of those. I found one that was one of those data crunchers and number crunchers, I guess is what they call them. And it was. Well, I found some that were real expensive, and then I found one that was pretty cheap, and then I thought maybe I should just get that because I was debating about spending what I spend $139 on this video card. It was on sale. I think it was $139, and then I realized, oh, there's no video output connections on that thing. Looking at the pictures of it, that ain't gonna work. That's the whole reason I want it, Well, I mean, I do want it to be able to help edit videos, but really, I don't know. It can be pretty hard to. Well, of course, Morton was trying to he's running all his operating systems, Windows. He's running Windows Server on inside of a hypervisor, and having all kinds of trouble getting the GPU to pass through to the VM. But that's not even what I want. I want my main operating system running on the server. That's the reason I had to have a video card, because that onboard can't handle, Fedora 29, much less 32. And I had thought at first I'd just get like a 2 gigabyte, maybe a 4, and then kind of looking at how high the prices were at this time for those compared to once these big ones go on sale. So, well, crap, I want to spend a little more and get that, because those 2 gigabyte ones would be 69, and then the 4 gigabyte ones would be 79 to 129, and so I just ended up jumping up to the 8 gigabyte, and then I knew I had to check the wattage and all that stuff. And at first I thought, well, the wattage it needs is exactly how much the 460 watt power supplies that came with this server could put out. And I thought, and they say in the manual they can actually put that much out all the time. And I thought, well, I guess I'll be all right. And then I decided, I think even before, I might have been right after I ordered the video card, I thought, you know what, I don't want to mess this thing up. And I started looking at, I knew I had seen power supplies for them for not too awful much, and then I immediately found those for $27 for both of them, 275 watts. They're used, of course, 750 watts. I got them, and they're working great. So didn't run them very long at all without the video card. I put them in, and then as soon as later on that day or the next day or two, I put the video card in. But I've run them for hours on end at louder than I want it to be. But well, they're not making noise though. They're not ramping up. It's just a steady drone of the case fans, And I think that's just because of the extra heat of that car. So I just need an exhaust hood for it and a noise baffle, I guess. All right. Well, I told myself I wasn't going to ramble. I was just going to get off of here. But I couldn't keep from it. So I'm going to go and get in bed. I'll see you later.